like this, by the way.
I don't like it.
No,
either.
I don't like it either. But the way
like
that Joshua see it is as a money grab. He'll see it as an easy money grab. But at this stage of his career, is it a fight he should be taking?
Guy who finally put an end to this Jake Paul thing, right? If he goes out there and puts Jake Paul in the dirt, he's going to be heralded. He's going to be a hero.
I think Jake Paul is crazy enough to fight Anthony Joshua because the money would be absolutely obscene. It's a catastrophic mismatch that people would tune in to watch because it would lead to the end of Jake Paul.
Eddie Hearn has spoken out about Jake Paul's decision to pursue a fight with Anthony Joshua, and his reaction is anything but hopeful. The Matchroom promoter didn't sugarcoat a thing, warning that Jake Paul is making the biggest mistake of his career by even thinking about stepping in with the former unified heavyweight champion. According to Hearn, this isn't another Netflix spectacle or a harmless money grab. This is a career-ending gamble, the kind of move that could shut the door on Jake Paul's boxing journey altogether. Hearn insists Joshua's power, experience, and sheer physical dominance would leave Paul completely dismantled.
Jake Paul, Anthony Joshua 50-50 fight, what do you make of that?
Yeah, I just said in another interview, great if it is. I mean, if it is, then you've got no problem seeing it. But when AJ, I mean, decapitate's a strong word, but you know, when he renders Jake Paul unconscious like he did to Francis Ngannou, don't then say, oh, well, it was Jake Paul. Do you know what I mean? I mean, when AJ beat Francis Ngannou, Ngannou just had a fight that could have gone either way with Tyson Fury. Then AJ poleaxed him and everyone just said he's just an MMA fighter. Do you know what I mean? Jake Paul's not Francis Ngannou. But as I said before, if you want to see Jake Paul exit the boxing world,
saying the matchup crosses a dangerous line between entertainment and survival. Reports now suggest Jake Paul is in the final stages of negotiating a heavyweight clash with Joshua next month in Miami, set to stream globally on Netflix. It would be Paul's most dangerous challenge by far, a monumental leap from the non-traditional opponents he's faced up to now. Joshua, meanwhile, is a two-time unified world champion who last fought in September 2020 and remains one of the most dangerous heavyweights on the planet. Hearn confirmed that talks have been happening. Initially, the matchup was something they imagined later down the road, but with the cancellation of Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis, the timeline is suddenly accelerating. While discussions remain in the exploratory phase and no contract has been signed, Hearn admits the window for Joshua versus Paul could open much sooner than expected. However, he also makes it clear Joshua's primary focus is still the world heavyweight title picture, whether that means Tyson Fury, a belt eliminator, or a championship opportunity. The Jake Paul fight is possible, but it is not the priority.
with myself and Nikisa, I think Jake and AJ have spoke as well. You know, from our point of view, if we're going to have a run-out fight, why not run out against Jake Paul, you know, for a lot of money? So there's ongoing conversations there. I can't tell you it's close. I can't tell you we've seen a contract. But if he genuinely wants to fight Anthony Joshua, I don't see why we wouldn't have a chance to do that fight. But, you know, our focus is on really a charge for the World Heavyweight Championship and a charge at Tyson Fury. We can't control that either. So, like I said, that's why I said to you, absolutely at the moment.
For Joshua's team, rebuilding his path back to the title is far more important than staging a spectacle for streaming numbers. Hearn has since elaborated on his concerns, warning that Joshua versus Paul is more than a mismatch. It's a step into genuinely dangerous territory. He highlights the massive gap in size, power, and experience, stressing that the risks aren't hypothetical. In Hearn's view, this fight could severely damage Jake Paul's career and potentially his health, no matter how big the financial incentive is.
AJ, ever so quickly, I watched Jake Paul the weekend. I feel a bit dirty saying that because I'm not a fan of his, but he did say after the fight that he's sort of having DMs or he's dropping text messages to AJ. They're having a chat about a potential fight. What's your view on that, Eddie?
Well, look, he's calling out Gervonta Davis, who is a 135-pound lightweight, and he's calling out Anthony Joshua, that's a heavyweight monster. I think Jake Paul is crazy enough to fight Anthony Joshua because the money would be absolutely obscene. It's a catastrophic mismatch that people would tune in to watch because it would lead to the end of Jake Paul. hopefully not literally, but it's that dangerous that, you know, it's a fight that I don't think should really happen, if I'm honest. I would say about Jake Paul, and I've said this in a couple of interviews today, I do think you start after giving him a margin of respect. You know, I think this guy is going through the motions, he's putting the hard spars in. He just went 10 rounds with, yes, a washed up fighter, but a former world champion that did train for that fight. But they're very clever in terms of the opponents that they pick. They're not going to gamble unless the money's out of control. And it wouldn't surprise me if Jake Paul, wanted to move forward with an Anthony Joshua fight. Honestly, AJ's coming tonight. He's not exactly looking at Jake Paul going, oh, that's my dream opponent. Would he go in there and give him a hiding for, you know, a massive chunk of money? Probably, I'd be saying.
A coppinger of the ring has also raised alarms, suggesting Jake Paul is chasing the fight mainly because of the massive payday attached to it. He reports the deal is in advanced talks, but still faces hurdles relating to broadcast agreements and sanctioning. Coppinger notes the drastic size and experience difference between Paul and Joshua and warns that the mismatch carries real safety concerns. It remains unclear whether the bout would be sanctioned as a professional fight or an exhibition, and no regulatory details have been confirmed. Key questions remain about rules, whether it will count on official records, and how the fight would be governed. Many veteran boxing figures have condemned the idea outright. Heavyweight Derek Chisora blasted the possibility of Jake Paul receiving a WBC ranking, calling it
Breaking story on Ring Magazine. Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul are finalizing a deal for a heavyweight fight on Netflix in December in Miami. Sources tell the Ring Magazine's Mike Coppinger. What do you make of that?
Well, Anthony Joshua is talking about wanting warm-up fights before going into bigger fights, but look, it's prize fighting at the end of the day, and the way that Joshua will see it, and Matchroom and all the team, the fans won't like this, by the way. But
I don't like it
no,
either.
I don't like it either. But the way that Joshua will see it is as a money grab. He'll see it as an easy money grab, but at this stage of his career, is it a fight he should be taking? Nah, definitely not.
Yeah, but it shouldn't be licensed because it's a really dangerous fight.
Do we know if it's an exhibition or a real fight?
We don't know yet, but I don't think they should be allowing Anthony Joshua in a ring with Jake Paul. It's dangerous for him.
It can't be a real fight, because if it's a real fight, Anthony Joshua would take Jake Paul's head clean off. So it can't be a real fight.
Well, that's what I'm worried about.
Yeah,
I don't want to see a man decapitated in Miami in a ring in December.
Listen, and that's what will happen. So
respectful to the sport. Meanwhile, boxing legend Roy Jones Jr. offered a blunt assessment. While he said the fight could happen if Joshua truly wants it, he emphasized it must be worth Joshua's time both financially and competitively.
They've said they're going to give a cruiserweight ranking to the winner of this fight. Do you think they deserve one?
No, I don't think so. I don't know why. It's hard enough for real athletes, for real boxers to get those rankings, and then suddenly this Solomon Souza decides to give double ranking because he's getting some greens in his, in his back pocket. No, that is.
Jones didn't mince words. Did you see what Anthony Joshua did to Francis Ngannou? The same thing happens to Jake Paul. If you think someone who isn't a full-time boxer will beat Anthony Joshua, you're crazy. UFC champion Leon Edwards has also weighed in, siding firmly with Joshua. In comments reported by MMA Fighting, Edwards sees the match as overwhelmingly one-sided, reflecting the widespread belief that Jake Paul would be taking a dangerous and unrealistic step up. The fight remains unconfirmed, but the message from the boxing world is loud and clear. If Jake Paul chooses to fight Anthony Joshua, he's stepping into a level of danger he has never experienced before.